Hello, car lovers, and welcome to another C&C Auto Show, and I am Aaron Clements.
I'm John Ryan.
And good morning, John Ryan.
Good morning.
Man, we are ready to roll. We are both here because we would like to share information with you, and our goal is to give you that information will make your car, truck, or SUV safer, and to make it more dependable, and to make it last longer for less money and less hassle. And we do all that by taking your phone calls. That's Saturday mornings, 8:05 to 10 Eastern Time at 706-863-5800. You can also watch us live on Facebook at the same time. And also, you can watch past shows on our YouTube channel. And both of those are at C&C Auto Show. Under the hood of this show is over 15,000 of the best repair facilities in the country known as Napa Auto Care Centers, and they are all ready to serve you. To find the one that's right for you, just go to NapaAutoCare.com. John Ryan, are we just about ready to crank the 15,000 Napa Auto Care horsepower engine up?
Yeah, let's see what it sounds like.
Ooh, that sounds good. And there it is. We are up and running, and we are ready. We will be answering those phone calls, but along with answering the phone calls, we also like to have a theme of a show, and today's theme is it's really a fun theme that we'll be talking about here. Mm-hmm. It has to do with driving habits.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of things that you can do. We have people come in and they've bought these elaborate things online that's supposed to get them better gas mileage and different items. Well, did you know that you can save 33%? Many people,
right,
including me, can save 33% in fuel by just driving habits, changing their driving habits.
Yep.
Not starting out as fast, slowing down a little faster. And there's a lot more of those ideas that we have, and we'll be talking about a lot of those during the show, along with answering those automotive questions. Now, another thing that we always do on the show is we do like to have a tech tip quiz. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the winner of the tech tip quiz will receive a prize package. And in that prize package, there's a I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz golf shirt, has the C&C Auto Show logo, and then it also has the words I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz under the bottom. And that's always a fairly huge thing for people to win because right, a lot of people love it. Here's the question for our tech tip quiz this morning. William worked for the same accounting company for over 35 years. He decided to take 1 year off and travel. He went out and bought over 40 computers. Why did he buy 40 computers so he could go travel?
That's a good one.
Yeah, if someone knows the answer to that, they can give us a call and they will win the C&C Auto Show I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz prize package, including that shirt. Now, we got a lot of other interesting things besides driving habits that we'll be talking about. We always like to bring different news that's kind of interesting there. One item that I want to mention, I thought this was a pretty interesting thing. Elon Musk of Tesla Motors bought Solar City Corporation for around $2 billion. So along with building the electric cars that they have, they are officially in the rooftop solar panel business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Where do you think a lot of that might take us, John Ryan, as far as combining rooftop solar panels with electric cars?
I think they'll be on cars pretty soon.
Well, there's no doubt. And there are some models now coming out. I was trying to think. I believe it was a BMW. Mm-hmm. They have the sunroof is actually a solar panel. And when the car temperature inside, like if you park it in the parking lot and the temperature gets up above a certain point, a little fan cuts on, cools the car down to a temperature, and then it cuts off. So they're using a lot of that technology now. But I really believe that that there will be paint that will be the whole car will actually be painted with a solar cell technology that will keep batteries charged up in the future. That's one thing, and of course they'll be combining the way that the solar panels on your roof will help recharge your car so much faster.
Yeah.
There's no doubt a lot of that stuff will be down the line. So there's a lot of neat things in that area that's going to be coming at us.
Sounds like if a buggy hit your car in the parking lot, it would probably total it.
Yeah, you'd have about, it'll be a little nick and it'd be about $8,000 damage.
Yeah. All right,
Okay,
go,
are we
folks.
ready?
Yeah, let's go over to Chris.
All right, let's do it. And Chris, welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
Good morning.
And hello there, and what can we help with?
Well, I was going to try to answer your tech tip quiz.
Well, we're going to need to put you up on the stage before we do. Chris, you are on the stage, and we are ready for you to answer the tech tip quiz. And what is the answer?
Well, I believe in buying these new cars, they have that many computers in them, built into them.
Oh, Chris, you are absolutely right. Absolutely. Actually, William worked for that same company for that long, and he went out and bought over 40 computers. And actually, the computers that he bought were in the actual car itself. They were an integral part of the new car that he bought. And actually, the average car now has between 25 and 75 onboard computers. And of course, what will be amazing coming up very soon is the autonomous cars coming out. There's going to be even more. Mm-hmm. I mean, because you have so many things. And some people are saying now that at one time the aviation industry was sort of leading technology because they would have all the GPS items and all the things that go along with that. But now a lot of the automotive technology is leading the technology world because, of course, with jet airplanes, you don't have to be as close and familiar with your surroundings because, of course, once you're in the air, you have a fairly good distance to where you don't have to maneuver as much around items and traffic and things like that. So a lot of the things that we're doing on cars now are leading technology in the world.
Yeah.
And so there will be more and more computers, and of course, I'll be talking a little bit more about autonomous cars very shortly and mentioning some other things. But Chris, in short, though, you are the winner. You do get the prize package. You do get the answer detective quiz shirt, and you are absolutely right. He bought the computers because they were on a new car. And we're going to put you on hold just for a second, and they will be writing down your information so that you can get your prize package.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for answering the Tech Tip quiz today. Okay, again, if you have a question about your car, truck, or SUV, you give us a call. That number is 706-863-5800, Saturday morning, 8:05 to 10 Eastern Time, and we will be ready to answer that question. You may have heard a little squeaking noise at one time that you're wondering where it is. One of you service advisors where you go to may have mentioned something along the lines of a transmission service or flush, power steering flush, and you're trying to make that decision on whether it would be a good investment for you. Well, this is the opportunity to be able to call and get that. Now, we're also talking about driving habits, and one thing that would be very good to do as far as good driving habits would be to get in the habit of getting rid of distractions before you start to drive. Take the things off the dashboard, like papers that you might have laying up there, because they could cause glare on the windshield. You ever driving a car and somebody has a piece of paper over it?
Yeah, that's really annoying.
Yeah, and you're sitting there trying to read what the paper says instead of reading the car. And you want to store and secure a lot of the loose items that you have laying around the car. And another good thing, and now this is for some areas, not all areas have that many of the roads like that. So it's a good idea to keep some change for the toll booth. John Ryan, it is time to take a break already, and we will be taking that break, and we'll be right back with more info on the C&C Auto Show just after this. And welcome back to the C&C Auto Show. We had just a little bit of technical issue there, But we are back up and running, and we are here with you on the C&C Auto Show and answering your automotive questions. If anything is there that we can help with, you let us know. We're talking about a lot of different things having to do with driving habits on cars. Mm-hmm. And John Ryan, what's the most unusual thing that you see as far as people having to do with driving habits?
Probably the one that gets me the most is just cell phone stuff, whether it be texting or just simply talking.
Yeah, I would say cell phones number one.
Yeah.
Another item that you see, and of course that ties in with the text messaging type situation that you have. That's always a big issue. And of course, another thing that you see from time to time is people putting on makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
riding down the road,
shaving.
and shaving, putting on makeup, doing habits.
Last minute things. Forgot.
Last minute things that you normally do on there. So that's always a little bit of an issue, and not to mention another big thing that happens that causes a lot of problems on cars has to do when somebody drops something on the floor.
Yeah.
And they bend down to pick it up, and boom, it causes a major issue that way. So there's a lot of those things that can cause problems. Then next thing you know, you have a terrible accident, and it could have been avoided.
Yeah.
By just being a little bit more focused. And it's good to know what you would do. Go ahead and put in your mind what you would do if things like if you were to drop things on the floor, or if something was to come up that you would have to be distracted, what would you do?
Yeah.
All right. Have you had any interesting cars?
Yeah, I mean, we always do. Like as far as the repair
that
side.
you've had to repair during the week.
Just a few diesels. We had some misfires on some trucks that were a little bit more difficult to find. So that took a little bit of effort to. It wasn't your typical diesel that just had a misfire. Other than that, just normal maintenance repairs. Nothing terribly normal.
Yeah, we've had this has been a very busy week. One of the ones that sticks out in my mind, I guess because of it turned out just to be such a very nice, smooth job that we had, was a Jeep come in, and it was from Florida. Person was driving down, and they had a running hot issue. And we did all the normal tests. And I'll mention some of the things that we do. And, of course, you already know all the things that is done during that normal test. But, of course, it come in. It first did not pass the block test. Now, the block test is a chemical test where we tell if combustion gases are getting inside the coolant system. So we run that test, and we knew that it was getting exhaust gases in the coolant system. So after that, it also had a cylinder not firing very well. We determined what cylinder it was, and then we ran a compression test on that cylinder. At first, it showed a little low, and then it showed normal after that. So after we run that test, we made the determination that it did have a head gasket issue. The car had about 115,000 miles. We run a few other tests on the vehicle to make sure that the rest of the engine was good, and then we removed the heads. It sent the heads to the machine shop, and in the Augusta area, we use Bo's Machine Shop, wonderful machine shop. They run all the tests on it, pressure test the heads, and of course then they shaved it, went ahead and did a valve job on the heads, and put the heads back on, and the car drove absolutely beautiful.
What engine was it? Do you remember?
This had a 3.7.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, the V6 Jeep engine, and it just turned out to be a very good, smooth job.
Great.
And we've had a lot of them like that during the week, but that's the one that just stands out in my mind the most.
Did you put a radiator in it also?
Yeah, we did. Well, we think that may have been what happened with the vehicle in the beginning, is that the radiator actually went bad, and when it went bad, it caused the coolant to leak out.
Right.
This is an interesting thing too. The person did not see the temperature hand move. As a matter of fact, they were saying that the temperature hand was on cold the whole time. And of course, we know the reason it was on cold is because it didn't have any coolant around the sending unit.
Right.
So in reality, they had a major, they didn't have coolant in there. They were driving it, and the engine was actually very, very hot.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it didn't show it hot on the gauge. So they kept driving a little bit after it had already run hot, and that's what caused the head gasket to go out.
Wow.
But actually, again, job very successful. We did some rear end bearing jobs, replaced different bearings, and of course, those can be prevented by doing just a normal rear end differential flush from time to time.
Yeah, that keeps all the metal out.
Exactly. John Ryan, it's already time to go to another break. We'll do that, and we'll be right back with more of the C&C Auto Show just after these messages. Welcome back to the C&C Auto Show. Some of the other tips we have to do about driving habits that we'll mention is you don't want to talk on a cell phone while you're driving, or at least try your best not to. You'll make a better phone call if you wait until you get where you're going. Now, if you do need to talk on a cell phone, I think having a headset of some kind is really a good idea.
Yeah, I think so.
And I will say that I do that sometimes. I do talk on the phone when I'm driving sometimes, but when I do that, I make sure I have my headset that I use.
Right.
And of course, I'm not distracted that much, other than just talking back and forth, because I don't have my hand having to hold my hand up to my ear as I'm riding.
Right.
So I think those are real good things, and those have come a long way too. They're really clear. You can just push one button, answer your phone, talk, push a button, and hang up, and they work very well. So if you do have to talk very much while you're driving, it is a really good idea to get that.
Yep.
If you don't have a headset of some time, it's better not to talk on your phone while you're driving. Okay, if you have questions about your car, truck, or SUV, give us a call. That's 805-10 any Saturday morning Eastern Time, 706-863-5800. And one of the other things that it's a good idea to consider when you're making left turns, don't cut your turn too short. Pull far enough over into the intersection to make a proper and safe turn. And if the traffic don't permit like an immediate turn, then your vehicle you shouldn't sit there in the intersection with your wheels turned to the left. Because picture this. Let's say you're already getting ready to make the left-hand turn and you got your wheels turned, then somebody comes up behind you and hits your car.
Yeah.
It will push it, if your wheels are already turned, it will push it over in the other traffic lane and you could get hit.
Yeah.
So you want to keep those wheels straight until you start to make that turn when you're sitting in that. And just all these are just little things to think about and maybe have it. And, of course, another big thing is always get into that habit of using those turn signals.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Real well. Turn signals very important. Okay, some of the things that we always talk about on the C&C Auto Show has to do with making sure that you maintain your vehicle, because that's the secret to keeping more expensive repairs down, is to do the maintenance on the vehicle.
Yep.
Instead of having to wait until a vehicle breaks down.
And
of course, one of the things that you would want to do is of course, oil change is number one, and we talk about that on a regular basis. The next thing down, I feel like, has to do with your engine coolant.
I agree.
Yeah, and the engine coolant is something that I feel like is something that would it prevents a lot of major problems. And John Ryan, a big thing on that has to do with the diesel truck's coolant. But we'll get that right. We'll go to some phone calls first.
All right, let's go to Brian.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
Hey, John. How y'all doing?
Very nicely.
Good. Generally talking about people in cars and how, people get aggravated and stuff. And I just, before y'all came back on here, I heard you first about road rage and stuff. I just wanted to remind people that, now in Georgia, we do have a law called the slow pump law, which I know a lot of people get mad at because, you're driving down the road and you got somebody going 45 in the left-hand lane when everybody in the right-hand lane, doing 55, they just won't get over. So I think that some people would be more considerate. We wouldn't have as much road race issues if people just, oh, it's my car, it's my world, I'm going to do what I want to do. You know obey the laws, I don't think we have a lot more issues with that.
Yeah. Brian, I got something that I'll say that I had to change my driving habits with what you're talking about. There was a time when I would drive. At the time, I think I was driving a truck with a fairly good sized engine in it, and I would always stay in that left lane because I was always going passing somebody or a little faster than everybody. Now, I'm not saying I was speeding at all, but I'm saying I was one that was going to get there first. And when I pulled up to the traffic light, I would always get in the left lane of the traffic light because I knew that I was going to take off first, and I was going to get to that next light first before anybody else. That was automatic. Well, I got a Prius. The Prius is great. I love the Prius. Drives good, gets good gas mileage, does good. But I have had to adapt myself that instead of getting in that lane, I get in the right lane now because I know I'm not going to be the first one taking off, and I'm not going to be as fast as everybody else. And I know it's going to take me a little bit longer to get to that light. But Brian, one thing I found out over the period of time driving this Prius, before, when I used to get to the light, it was red and I'd have to sit there. Now when I get to the light, it's turned green and I just go on through.
Yeah, that mostly applies to interstate driving and stuff like
Yes.
that, where you're going at I-20 or something, and you got somebody that's in there going 55, and it's like, will you please get over? And you got transfer trucks passing them. It's like, oh my goodness,
Exactly.
Please just slide to the right. Thank you.
Man, the interstate, I'm up there with the best of them. I whiz on by them on the interstate and do very well. But yes, I agree with you. It completely burns me up for traffic to be backed up a long way because you have one person who is driving a little slower, but they're in the right lane, but you have another person that won't pass or won't do anything but just riding side by side, and it backs up traffic and causes a lot of issues, and probably does cause a little road rage every now and then.
Yeah, no, I talk to somebody like that. They're like, well, I want to do this because, and I say, well, okay, I understand you're going to turn left, but it's like 7 miles down the road. How about we get in the right lane, then get back over, and then take your left turn? It's just like, oh my goodness.
Well, Brian, maybe the culprit is listening, and they'll get a gentle reminder to get in that right lane until they either go faster or get ready to turn.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brian. We appreciate it. I bet Brian feels better now. See, he got that off his chest and able to just kind of calm and feel good about it. Okay, you ready to go to another caller?
Yeah, let's go over to Bill.
Let's do it. Hello, Bill, and welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
Well, good morning. I have a comment about driving habits.
Yes.
Mine has to do with slowing down, sort of like what you were talking about, slow down before you're coming to a traffic light. Also coming to get off the interstate or any place you're getting a stop that you're going to make. I frequently see people come up to the end of where they're going to stop, and they still got their foot on the gas almost until it's time to stop.
Yeah.
Well, especially if it's some place that you drive frequently, an exit you're going to get off, about what's going to happen. You're going to come to an exit that, say, slopes up. You're going to slow down a little bit, natural slow down, just as you exit. Take your foot off the gas at just a certain point. The one point of the interstate that I'm coming to, I know about, say I'm going at 65 miles an hour, I can take my foot off the gas. I know by the time I get to the stop sign, I'm going to be at about 50, or where I should put my foot on the gas, or 45. But that's plenty fast to get off the exit.
Yeah.
And you save fuel at that point, and you've also saved a little bit on your brakes and your gas and your tires.
You do, yes.
So just take your foot off the gas a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
And you get there plenty of time, and there's probably somebody ahead of you anyway, so you're just going to come to a stop and sit there.
Yeah,
You
and
haven't saved
that's what I
anything.
found. You slow down just a little bit, and you actually save the gas, you save the wear and tear on your car, but you also, in some cases, you get there almost as fast or faster, kind of like the turtle in the hare deal.
Mm-hmm.
You
Or with the traffic light, yeah, if you can back down while you see the traffic lights red ahead of you, if you back off and you can go through it green, rolling, you will get there faster.
Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble mentioning this, but I used to tease my wife all the time and tell her that she needs one of them tail hooks. Like I used to work on F-4 fighter planes, and they used to have the tail hooks, and you drop, and they'd catch the cable, and it'd stop the airplane. And I'd say we need one of those for her car because she'd keep accelerating until right at the stop, and then
Yeah.
and you pull about 3 negative G's coming to a stop. Joe, we appreciate that. That was a great tip. Hey, it's time to take another break, and we will we will be right back. We'll answer automotive questions, and we'll talk about more driving habits as soon as we return. We are back with you on the C&C Auto Show. We're making a right turn. Don't pull wide to the left. Start kind of close to the curb. And then swing out, sort of like a button hook pattern. And that way no one will get confused and try to pass you on the right, because a lot of accidents have happened that way. Is someone will see someone over to the left and they'll think that they're going straight, and then the car behind them want to make a right-hand turn, and they'll pull, and boom, there'll be an accident. So stay a little closer to the curb just to make sure that someone behind you don't try to squeeze by there. John Ryan, are we ready to go to the callers?
Yeah, let's go over to Joe.
Hey, that's great. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and what can we help with?
Good morning, Augusta.
And hello there, Joe.
Let me preference my statement. I want to talk about driving habits.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 20 years in the military as a military policeman in traffic control and accident investigation, things of that nature. And I've been to 6 foreign countries and in 46 states. And I'm going to tell you right off the top of my head, after living in Georgia for 30 years, this state has the worst drivers that I have ever seen in my life. The most common things that I see, number one, is people getting that fast lane they think is theirs to stay. The law of Georgia says if there's somebody coming up behind you, irrespective of whether you're doing the speed limit or not, it is your responsibility to move over to the right and let that person fly by you at 100 miles an hour. Don't sit there and try to make him slow down.
Yeah.
Making turns, if you're making a left turn into a street that has 2 traffic lanes, you do not make that real wide thing and get into the right-hand lane on your left turn. You make your left turn, you stay in the left-hand lane.
Mm-hmm.
Very seldom do you ever see anybody do that.
Right.
These are all safety things. People can eliminate a lot of simple accidents by traveling down the road in a safe manner without exceeding the speed limit too much. The state of Georgia, I talked to some policemen one time, and they say they got about 11 mile an hour tolerance, which is stupid. Mm-hmm. The speed limit is the speed limit, and is there for safety. And believe me this, I have investigated an accident over in Germany where there was 9 fatalities.
Whoa!
And it was just because of all stupidity. This truck, it was an American Army driver that was driving this 2.5-ton truck with a half-ton trailer hooked on the back of it. He's going down the Autobahn. He gets to his turnoff and missed it. He stopped, tried to back that truck up with that trailer on the back of it on the Autobahn.
Mm-hmm.
In doing so, he jackknifed that trailer over into the second lane, or left-hand lane.
Right.
And here comes a Volkswagen minibus loaded with, I think it was 9 people in it.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody was out there to, guide anything. This minibus hit into that trailer, and it just damn near exploded it all over the road.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to be loaded with landmines and shape charges.
Wow. Mm.
And none of them, fortunately, blew up. But anyway, there were 9 people in this Volkswagen that ran into the back of that thing, we had to pull them out from the back seat, the people in the front seat. We had to break down the seats to get them out. We got them out, and in doing so, the guy on the passenger side, when I was pulling him out, his head fell off into my arms.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, I've seen some horrible things because of stupid driving habits in my lifetime. And I just want to caution people out there, whatever the speed limit is, forget that tolerance of 11 miles that the Georgia patrolman told me they allow, which is stupid.
Yeah.
If you can't drive at within the speed limit of 2 or 3 miles over the limit, that's fine in my opinion. But they need to stay over in the right-hand lane before they make any kind of a turn to get off that interstate. Or if you want to drive in the middle lane, as I do, I'll drive in there at the speed limit, like give everybody the racing the road and everything on the left side to get in there.
Yeah.
People who drive on the left-hand side, if they see somebody coming up behind them that's wanting to get over, even though they're doing the legal speed limit, the Georgia law, if I'm not mistaken, says if somebody's in that left-hand lane and they're coming up behind you, just because you're there, that don't mean it's your road.
Yeah.
You move over to the right and let that speeder go by for
You do.
safety reasons.
Yeah, and Joe, and I appreciate that. That gives a lot of people a chance to realize that something that seems small to them can have terrible, terrible consequences for others. And we appreciate that very much. And see, that helps Joe to feel better. He gets a chance to get that. But I do appreciate him sharing that story with us because it lets us know how catastrophic little small things that you can do that are bad driving habits can affect others. Are we ready to go to the next caller?
Yeah, let's go to Dan.
All right. Dan, welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
You was talking about talking on the telephone in the truck.
Yes.
For a car. Well, I've got a truck. If you call me, it cuts the radio off.
Uh-huh.
And I can talk to you and never do nothing.
Yeah. And what
both hands on the wheel, right on down the road.
and I actually think that's no doubt better than a regular phone. And plus, not to mention, it more than likely the time you get in the car or in the truck, it automatically syncs with the truck. So you're able to immediately know that you're hands-free the time you get there. And Dan, I believe you have my little headset beat just a little bit. What type truck do you have?
I got a Chevy.
And what year model is that? John Ryan's starting to get interested here, I can tell. Oh, what now?
12.
Oh, 2012 Chevy truck.
Right.
Yeah, those are very nice.
With the cover over the back, and I really like that. But you can put stuff in there, nobody can see it.
Yeah.
And you can lock it.
One thing I found though is see the Prius at the shop here. It has a deal to where it syncs with the phone, and I sync mine to it. But then the bad part is now when I've had cases to where someone will be giving a ride to someone else in the front, and I'll be standing inside the shop, and I'll get a phone call, and the phone will come through on the car where everybody's sitting in. Everybody's in the car in the Prius, and I'm inside the shop. So I had to disconnect it from that one. But that is a very good thing to have. And I think the key on what you're saying, Dan, do you feel like you're a much safer driver because of that?
Oh, yes, because you don't have to take your hands off the wheel.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that as I'm driving...
Put your radio off and you still got your hands and you can talk all you want to and look wherever you want to go. And, it just like you're not even talking to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my thing is I'm able to have I have the music stays up to regular, and I only keep one earpiece in, so I'm talking and listening to the radio all at the same time.
And that's why you don't ever hear what we say.
They claim I don't listen good, Dan.
Oh.
But I do. Okay, well that is we appreciate you sharing that with us. And
all right.
Thank you, Dan. And one thing I'll mention, there's a lot of vehicles that have that feature that a lot of people just hadn't tried it. They don't. It's there, and if they was to look in their owner's manual, they'll see that it's very easy to use. I mean, you just go in and it says, you put it you push a button for it to sync your phone, and it syncs directly to your phone. And every time you get inside your vehicle, it'll be synced to it, and you're able to, when it rings, it'll just ring on the radio or through the speakers like that, and you'll be able to get much more done. And that's the main thing we're trying to stress here, is that you could be a much safer driver if you'll use some of that technology to be a safer driver. Okay, the time clock is on E. We need to pull over for now, but we'll be back on the road in no time. I'm Aaron Clements with co-host John Ryan Mooney. Our show producers are Bo Roberts, Sandy Klein, Dominique Frito, and Zach Llewellyn. We would all like to say thank you to all of you that tuned in, logged in, and especially those that called in to ride with us on the C&C Auto Show. We'll see you on the next trip.